Disclaimer. None of the songs, including intro, artworks, including thumbnail, or characters in the video are mine. This is not an accurate portrayal of the characters. This is not a defamation of character either. This is only for entertainment. Warning. Foul language, grammatical mistakes, typographical errors. Atsumu fiddled with his fingers as his parents studied him. They are all sitting at the kitchen table and none of them are talking. Still stuck in the silence after Atsumu told them about his plans. Atsumu stiffened. Atsumu, look at me, sweetheart. Atsumu swallowed as he slowly looked up to see his parents' worried eyes. Wow, what's happening? What's going on with you and Osamu? I know there's something wrong with both of you right now and I want to help you. We want to help you but we can't because you won't tell us what's going on. And we can't do anything but feel useless right now because our little boys, my babies, you're fighting and you always fight but I know that this time is different. Mama Mia is crying now as she speaks about her worries. Because her sons, her twins, who has been together since before they were born are now growing apart and she doesn't know what to do. Her eldest wants to move out, and her youngest is nowhere to be found. Probably in his boyfriend's house, avoiding his twin. Atsumu bit his lip to stop his tears from falling as Papa Mia caressed his wife's back, trying to calm her down. Atsumu, come on, tell us what's happening. Don't keep us in the dark, son. We want to help. Please. Atsumu stayed silent. He wants to answer, to tell them what's wrong, to fix his and Osamu's relationship. But he can't, because he himself doesn't know what's wrong. He knows Osamu hates him. He just doesn't know why. He doesn't know what he did so wrong that made Osamu so angry at him. And it hurts because if there's one person in this world that Atsumu can't bear to lose, it's Osamu, his little brother, his twin, his other half. And yet, here he is now, seated in front of his parents as they try to keep the twins together but can do nothing but watch. Papa Mia sighed when no answer came. He sent his wife upstairs and faced Atsumu alone. His son's head was bowed down, his entire body curled around himself. He has no doubt that Atsumu is on the verge of tears, no doubt that his eyes are red and teary, that his lips are bent into a frown as he bites on it, no doubt that his son is in pain right now. Papa Mia sighed again as he massaged his eyes. Atsumu, he called, wanting to see if Atsumu would look up. He didn't, but that was expected, so he just continued. We will let you move out. Atsumu lifted his head, confirming everything his father deduced. But, we need to lay down some ground rules. Atsumu nodded eagerly. Okay. First, you'll have to visit at least a week. Atsumu nodded. Of course, Dad. I'll still be in Hyogo anyway. Papa Mia nodded before continuing. Second, let us help you find a place. We want to make sure you're safe, okay? Okay. Thank you. Third, don't slack off. Maintain your grades and try to eat healthy, okay? Your allowance as well as your salary should be enough to allow you to eat at a decent restaurant. Also, please don't cook, because that would definitely not be healthy. Atsumu pouted. He wanted to argue because Kevin is in good health, thanks. Fourth, you have to send us any magazine that you appear in, okay? Update us in your work. We want to support you there too. Atsumu blushed but nodded. And fifth, Papa Mia's eyes softened. Don't let your relationship with Osamu end. Atsumu stiffened. I know you're not ready yet. I'm not asking you to fix it right now, but at least don't let it end, okay? Atsumu bit his lip then nodded. He also doesn't want his and Osamu's relationship to vanish, but it doesn't seem like that's his decision to make. Okay, that's about it. Don't worry about your mom. I'll take care of her. Now run along. You must be tired. Atsumu nodded and got up as he bid his father good night. Papa Mia sighed when his son disappeared from view. There are doubts swirling in his mind. Did he make the right decision? He sighed once more as he stood up and walked to their bedroom. Despite his doubts, he feels that he did make the right decision. He knows, based on the twins' reactions, that the problem isn't with Atsumu. They also talked to Osamu when Atsumu was in Tokyo, but like Atsumu, he chose to stay silent. The difference though is that while Osamu was cold, trying his best to ignore them, Atsumu was almost shaking in his seat as he held back his tears. Atsumu was in pain and needed a break from his brother. If that means living under a different roof, then that's the least they could do for him. Atsumu's strength has always been Osamu, and now that he's not there anymore, Atsumu needs someone else to lean onto. And Papa Mia knows that that's not them. They are his parents and they'd always be family, but they are not the ones Atsumu need. The second Atsumu entered the school, all eyes were on him. He tried to ignore the stares, resisted the urge to fidget and hide his hair from view, but all the stares were making him anxious. Do I look bad? Does it not suit me after all? Atsumu clenched his fist as he hastened his steps to get away from the stares, shaking away his negative thoughts. No, the confetti crew told me I look great, and they won't lie to me. They are my friends after all. Still, that thought didn't calm Atsumu's nerves. He relaxed slightly when he entered the lockers. He put his bag inside his locker and changed into a more comfortable clothing for practice. He came to school a little later, so his teammates are already in the gym. When he entered the gym, all the noise stopped and his teammates all looked at him with eyes wide and mouth gaping. It was Suna who recovered first. Hey Tsumu, nice hair, it suits you. A chorus of agreements echoed in the entire room. Atsumu frowned, then caught himself and gave them a strained smile. He wants to believe them, to trust that they are genuine, but he can't. Every compliment they throw his way sounds like they are mocking him. Thanks, he said finally, then walked to the bench to his things and to apologize to the coach for missing practice yesterday. As he's explaining to the coach why he was absent yesterday, he missed the looks of pain and confusion sent his way. Morning practice continued like that, with his teammates trying their hardest to communicate with Atsumu and Atsumu smoothly avoiding them. They would try to joke with him only for Atsumu to give an awkward chuckle then leave. They would try to pull him into conversations and they would succeed. For only a few minutes, Atsumu would go quieter and quieter until he stops talking and leave, which the others wouldn't notice. They would give him kind gestures, like handing him a water or a towel, and Atsumu would always accept it with a thanks, but not before looking at them suspiciously and reluctantly accepting it. He also doesn't actually use the things they gave him, opting to silently drop it off and get another one. It makes their hearts and stomach twist and they don't know what to do, how to deal with a cold Atsumu. Because Atsumu is never cold. Even when he hates someone, he's not cold to them. Even when he's in the company of someone he just met, he's never cold. But he is cold to them, like they're less than strangers, less than his enemies. After morning practice, Jinjima hurried his shower so he could wait for Atsumu because he suspected the blonde would do the same to ignore everyone. He was right. Atsumu is fast, but Jinjima is faster. Hey. He smiled at Atsumu. Atsumu frowned at him, studying him with a suspicious look before silently nodding in greeting. Jinjima swallowed through the lump in his throat at the response that was so not Atsumu. Wanna walk to class together? Sure. Jinjima smiled widely. He'll take this opportunity to talk with Atsumu and put everything back to normal. They are in the same class so he can talk to him whenever he wants. So you got a new hair, huh? It looks good on you. Thanks. Cool. What made you decide to change it? Atsumu shrugged. Oh hahaha, you don't know, huh? Was it another spontaneous decision? Atsumu hummed in reply and Jinjima gritted his teeth in frustration. But he let it go. He sighed and tried to ask a question that isn't answered by only one word or even non-verbally. Where'd you get it done? I might go there to get my hair done too. They did a good job. Look. Can we hurry? I don't want to be late. Atsumu suddenly said, then left Jinjima in the hallway alone and in shock. Jinjima arrived to class late because it took him a few minutes to recover from the shock. He looked at Atsumu, who wasn't in his usual seat, which is normally beside him. No. Atsumu exchanged seats with one of the guys at the front row, and Jinjima felt a tinge of pain at the fact that Atsumu sacrificed the seat he would fight people for just so he wouldn't be beside him. He apologized to his teacher for being late, then went to his seat, not taking his eyes off of Atsumu's back the entire class. As they are waiting for their second period teacher to arrive, Terasuka, the basketball team captain, shouted at Atsumu, "Hey Mia, nice hair, makes you look even prettier." Atsumu looked back at him and smiled sharply. "Thank you." Terasuka snorted. "How many guys paid you to have sex with them already?" Terasuka is a person that perfectly embodies toxic and fragile masculinity. He is an avid basketball fan and is of the opinion that the only sport for true men is basketball. Every other sport is for gay people. He especially hates volleyball players for their short shorts and swimmers for being practically naked. He would talk shit about Atsumu the most though, but the whole school knows it's because Terasuka also finds Atsumu pretty and that he has a crush on him. No matter how much Terasuka denies it, it's pretty obvious with how he is always there for each of Atsumu's matches. How he would take time off his break to tease Atsumu during practice but his eyes would be glued on Atsumu's thighs. It was also obvious with how much he calls Atsumu pretty. I'll shout your pretty little mouth, I don't want to ruin any hair on your pretty little head. Atsumu is probably the only one who doesn't notice. Why? You're gonna offer to? Atsumu said with his head tilted to the side, his chin on top of his hands and his mouth raised into a smirk. Terasuka blushed and spluttered defenses. How he's not gay and no way would he ever be with another man no matter how pretty he is. The others weren't any better. They were all in various shades of red. Shame. I was willing to put you first in line. Terasuka blushed even harder and the others are all laughing at him. On second thought, as I am gay, I'm not really interested in someone with a pussy. Or a pussy in general. Everyone bursted out laughing at the implications of that statement while Terasuka exploded and alternated between yelling at them to shut up and insulting Atsumu. Fuck you, Ma. Atsumu scoffed. Oh, you wish you could. Everyone laughed again. Everyone except Jinjima, who was gritting his teeth and clenching his fist in frustration. How could he banter with his enemy but not us, his friends? When lunch came, Atsumu immediately grabbed his stuff, bolted out of the classroom, getting as far away as he can from his friends. He reached the rooftop and sighed before sitting down on one of the corners. He hugged his legs and buried his face on his knees, trying to just breathe and bury every bad thoughts. He's confused and hopeful that maybe, just maybe, his friends are actually genuine. But at the same time, he's scared that it's all just a ploy so he could lower his guard and they could wiggle themselves into his inner circle once again. He doesn't know if he wants that though. Being friends with them was exhausting. And not the pleasant kind of exhausting he gets from playing volleyball, but the kind of exhausting that makes him lazy, makes him want to lounge on his bed all day and do nothing, unable to move or even just sleep. He sighed once again and brought out his phone and snacks that he thankfully bought before he went to school. He ignored the knowledge that those snacks were supposed to be for Osamu, for his glutton baby brother who is constantly hungry. He silently nibbled on his bread as he called Oikoa, wanting to hear the comforting voice of his best friend. Tsumu? Hey Koa, what's the matter? Are you okay? Are the trees talking shit again? Atsumu laughed. Nah, the trees are acting kind. Oh, how do you feel about it? Atsumu shrugged even though Oikoa can't see. I dunno. I'm exhausting all my brain cells thinking about them so I'd rather not. Oikoa chuckled. Fair enough. Everything was silent for a while. They just listened to each other breathe. Hey Tsumu, let's video call. I wanna show you something I know would lift your mood. Oh, sure. When they opened their cameras, what greeted Atsumu wasn't Oikoa's face. It was the image of Tiger sleeping on the floor with Kevin on top of him, acting like a blanket. Or, that's so cute Jakubej. I love them. Our babies. Oikoa spoke from behind the camera. I know right. I've already taken like 100 pictures of them together. They are so adorable. Koa, send all of them to me please. Don't worry. They are sending now. Thank you. The two spent lunch break talking about their kids, the shenanigans they were up to and the mess they did in Kagami's apartment. Sorry Koa. Say my sorry to Kagami too. Oikoa waved him off. It's fine. I'm rotting in boredom here anyway. At least now I have something to do. Ha 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 ha, that's good then. I want to talk to Kevin. Well, I can call you later when he's awake then. Yes please. The bell rang for the end of lunch break and Atsumu sighed again. Ugh. That's my cue. Bye Koa. I'll talk to you later. Bye Tsumu. Take care. Oh, and before you go, I just wanna say something. What is it? I taught Kevin how to cook. Then Oikoa ended the call. What? Meanwhile in the cafeteria, I can't believe Atsumu ran away from me. He's being so cold. Osamu just listened to the two talk, not really knowing what to say. He switched seats with someone. Can you believe it? Seriously? Yes. He even spoke to Terasuka. But he won't even speak to us. Dart. This needs to stop. I know otherwise it would ruin the team. Dart. Samu, what do you think? Osamu shrugged. Why don't we just call Kita and Eren? They might be able to do something. Suna and Jinjima paused before smiling widely. That might just work. Of course it will. Tsumu idolizes Kita and Eren. They can talk to him. If it doesn't work, it will. But if it won't, and that's a big if, we can just go to the coach directly. He'll intervene once he sees that Atsumu ignoring us is affecting the team dynamics. Great. Who's going to call Kita then? Suna and Jinjima looked at him with a smile. Osamu sighed. Of course. 3 days in and the Inarizaki team's interactions with their captain is still like that. Cold professionalism. They all tried to interact with him, of course, going as far as cornering him and trapping him in a room with all of them blocking the exits just so he would talk to them. He did, but it was all just one-word replies and non-verbal gestures. And when the bell rang, he immediately bolted out saying he doesn't want to be late. It wasn't even like he was being a bad captain. On the contrary, he was actually being a responsible and dependable captain. He would watch his teammates' plays and correct what was wrong and slightly praise good plays. But the thing is, that just isn't Atsumu. They're none of that insults they hate but at the same time, motivates them to be better. None of that enthusiasm about how cool their plays are. None. It's gotten so bad that team's play got affected. And it wasn't even Atsumu that was the problem. In fact, Atsumu improved. There's none of that recklessness, trust, that was once there. This made him see openings, opportunities better. His teammates just weren't up to par. They are missing all the opportunities Atsumu's giving them. Messing up serves, blocks, spikes, everything. And Kita and Eren's only available on the weekend. But their coaches intervened. So, there seems to be a problem. Can I know what? They all just remained silent. What is causing you to play like this? Like a bunch of scrubs. They flinched at that word. The word that Atsumu frequently used to describe their weak enemies and sometimes them when they make a mistake. But they haven't heard it in a while. It should have been something they were happy of, and yet. Your serves are off. Your blocks. Your receives. Your spikes. Even when Atsumu sends the ball perfectly to you, you still can't properly hit it. Osamu straightened. What's happening to you? Your twin is setting perfectly to you. Why can't you hit it? Sorry coach. Sorry. That's all you have to say? No explanation why? Osamu stayed silent. Their other coaches just watching all of them with a disappointed face. Then Suna spoke up. Sorry coach, but captain hasn't been communicating with us properly this past few days. It's affecting all of us. Atsumu swiveled his head to look at Suna, but Suna's head was bowed down. So I'm getting blamed, huh? Is this true, captain? They all know it isn't true. Even the coaches. But the coaches also don't know what's going on. Atsumu was communicating with the team, but it wasn't in the way they want him to. And unless Atsumu speaks up about the problem, they can't do anything about it, because they don't know the problem. Kurosu was giving Atsumu the chance to say his side of the story. Atsumu studied his teammates. No one spoke up for him. No one spoke up against Suna. They all just stood there in silence with their heads bowed down. Atsumu laughed internally while he gritted his teeth in frustration. He sighed and put on a strained smile before facing his teammates and bowing. I'm sorry. I didn't know that I wasn't communicating with you properly. I'll try to do better. His teammates were surprised and his coaches were disappointed. They wanted Atsumu to tell them so they could fix the problem, but it seems like Atsumu just wants to ignore it. Kurosu sighed. Well, what do you suggest we do then, Captain? How about a training camp, sir? I'll find us a location so we go to our own training camp next week. After the national training camp. His teammates cheered and smiled at each other. This is it. A breakthrough. They can finally talk to Atsumu again. His coaches were looking at him worriedly, but Atsumu just stood there silently. Okay. We'll entrust that to you, Atsumu. Yes, sir. He could have said something. He really could have. And maybe he should have. But the thing is, Atsumu is exhausted. Every interaction he has with his team is exhausting. He doesn't want to have an argument with them because not only is that mentally and emotionally taxing to him, he also cries in arguments. And Atsumu is sick and tired of showing people his weaknesses when all they ever do is take advantage of them. When Atsumu got home, Osamu was at Suna's again. His parents were looking at him excitedly. What? We have news. Okay. What do you want first? The good news or the better news? Atsumu laughed. After Mama Mia gave her permission for him to move out, she cried because, "My baby is moving out. You grow up so fast. It feels only yesterday when you were pooping your pants." After that, she was the most excited to find Atsumu the perfect place. The good news. The good news it is. Atsumu laughed at his mother's shenanigans. "Okay, first, we found you a place or places. Plural. There's 3 apartments and 1 house. Which do you prefer?" An apartment would be more convenient, but I want a larger space for Koa, for his plants and so he won't get bored. For Tiger and Kevin to run around in too. Atsumu mumbled absently. "Can we go check?" "Sure. We can go check the apartments anytime, but the house, we'll only be able to go see on the weekend because that's when the owner is available." Atsumu thought for a moment. They were planning on moving this weekend, but if the house is only available for checking, then they would have to postpone. On the bright side, that means Koa won't be alone on their supposed first week of living together because Atsumu has to go to training camp next week. "Okay," he said finally. "Oh, I'm so excited. My baby's moving out of the nest, and I get to help decorate a new house." Atsumu smiled fondly at his mother. Then he looked at his father, who was watching Mama Mia with the most smitten look ever. He caught his father's eye, so he wiggled his brows up and down, causing Papa Mia to blush before clearing his throat. "So are you ready for the good news?" Atsumu laughed. "Okay, sure." Mama Mia squealed. "A package for you arrived and it's from your company. We haven't opened it yet though. We wanted you to open it." "Really?" "Yup. Here it is." Atsumu took the package and looked at his parents, who are watching him excitedly. He exhaled and gently opened the package. Inside it was the draft for his magazine that's going to be released next week. When he saw the picture, he went through the 7 stages of grief. There, on the magazine cover, is a picture of him pressing a lipstick on his tongue. Mama Mia pulled the magazine out of an unresponsive Atsumu's hands. "OMG, my baby is so handsome. They got it from me. They are literally a carbon copy of me." "Oh shush." Papa Mia looked at the magazine, then puffed his chest in pride. "Yes, you do look handsome. Like me." Then he squinted his eyes and adjusted his glasses to further study Atsumu's picture. "But why are you eating lipstick? Is that safe? They didn't force you to do it, did they?" Dart. Weekend came and Atsumu is getting more and more anxious for the training camp. He almost couldn't swallow his food due to it. It also made him space out more often, which affected his performance in court. His teammates, on the hand, played better since the promise of a training camp as well as Kita and Eren's arrival. So now the dynamics shifted. It was no Atsumu who played bad, which worried his coaches so much that they pulled him aside, asking him if he wanted to not continue with the training camp idea, which Atsumu insisted it does. His mistakes earned him teasing from his teammates. It seemed to be in good nature, except Atsumu only sees it as malicious, which made him ignore them, and made them huff and pout. For now though, he's being led by his parents to the house they were talking about. They already checked the apartments and they were great. Clean, spacious, etc. But Atsumu doesn't like them. They just feel off. So this house is his only hope. Otherwise, they'd have to search again, and that might take 1 more week. Tada. His parents gestured as they stopped in front of the house. Atsumu smiled fondly at them for a moment before looking at the house. It was old and dirty. The grass will probably reach his knees in height. The windows were visibly dirty. Some were also broken and some don't even have glass. The paint has been chipped in some places and covered in dirt in some. Overall, it looks like it's been abandoned. It's perfect. I know, right? It will take a while to clean it up, but we can do it. Yes, we can. Oh, there's the colored. As his parents went to meet the landlord, Atsumu took a picture and sent it to Ikoa, which received a reply in a second. "Atsumu, it's so beautiful." And it is. The house looked more like a traditional Western house rather than a Japanese house. Atsumu entered and admired the house. "Atsumu, come here." Atsumu went to see his parents still talking to the landlord. "So will you take it?" "Yes, mom." The adults talked more, but Atsumu wasn't paying attention. He just went to explore the house. It has a kitchen, a dining area, a living room, a garage, a pantry, and a small basement where the laundry room is located. It also has 2 bedrooms, which has an ensuite bathroom. The other room is significantly bigger than the other. Atsumu shivered. Yeah, I'm going to give Koa the bigger room. It also has an extra toilet near the dining area. Atsumu went out and examined the surrounding land. It has a lot of space for Koa's plants, and for Kevin and Tiger to run around in, including the fact that it's gated. They're definitely safe. Their neighbors are also close enough that if they need help, they can just go to them, but far enough that none of them would be disturbed. The general area also has good reception as well as open enough for fresh air to blow through even in summer. They also don't really have a problem with that considering the rooms have an air conditioner. They also have a fireplace. Atsumu. Coming. Here you go. Mama Mia handed Atsumu the keys to the house. So when do you want to clean up? How about next weekend? Koa and I can move then too. Sure. Wait, Mom. How much is the rent? I mean, sure, I have a job now, but I don't really want to spend all of my salary paying rent, you know. Mama Mia laughed. Oh, Atsumu, do you really think we would get you a house that you can't afford? Atsumu shrugged with a grin. I'm offended. It's 70,000 yen per month. Wait, that cheap? That's cheaper than most of the 2 LDK apartments in Tokyo. It's also cheaper than Atsumu's weekly salary. Sure, the house was a fixer-upper, but surely it would still cost a lot. Yes, well, the house has been here for 12 years now, and nobody's been living in it for 5 years. It also hasn't been cleaned for that long. Also, according to the landlord, the owner has been wanting to get rid of it, but no one wanted to buy, so they just opened it for rent. That's because the owner's husband died in that house, so they want it gone, but they also don't want to destroy it. Dad. Mama Mia and Atsumu slapped Papa Mia on the shoulders, which made him laugh and Atsumu pout. What? I'm just saying. Atsumu pouted even more as his parents laughed at him. When they arrived home, Eren and Akagi was there waiting for him. Hey, yo. Now, the first reaction Atsumu normally would have is excitement. But now all he felt at the sight of his senpais is suspicion. Being suspicious of people you love, doubting them, beginning to see them as your enemies, is a painful feeling. We'll be right inside if you need us, Atsumu. He briefly nodded at his father, then faced Eren and Akagi, who are smiling genuinely at him. It's fake. They are trying to make you lower your guard. They'll leave you like everyone else had. Atsumu shook his head of those thoughts. Eren and Akagi would never do that to him. Just like Osamu would never leave you. Just like Suna should have been your best friend besides Osamu. Just like Kita would always be there for you. At the thought of Kita, Atsumu suddenly noticed that he wasn't there. Noticing his questioning gaze and how he subtly looked around, Eren spoke, realizing what or who Atsumu is looking for. Oh, Kita's not here. He's talking with Osamu and Suna. Atsumu frowned. There it is. Your proof. They are all working together to screw you over. Noticing his defensiveness, Eren and Akagi looked at each other worriedly. It hasn't even been a year since they last saw Atsumu, but he's changed so much. Atsumu is someone who trusts easily. That's why they protect him. Baby him even though he's older than Osamu. And yet, Atsumu is here now, looking cautious, suspicious. Not of a stranger like they used to try to teach him, but of them. People he's known for years. Atsumu, what are you doing here? Eren and Akagi flinched back at Atsumu's harsh voice. We wanted to check on you. Yeah. Suna and the others said you were avoiding them, so we. Akagi stopped when he noticed Atsumu frown harden even more. I'm fine. Of course I'm the bad guy again. He began to stomp past them, but Eren grabbed his wrist. He slapped it away and clutched his wrist to his chest as he glared at them. Do not touch me. Eren lifted his hands in surrender as he took a slight step back. Akagi watching with worried eyes behind him. I'm sorry. I won't touch you, okay? We just want to talk. Eren spoke softly, his hands still raised as if approaching a frightened animal. We don't mean any harm, Tsumu. We just want to know what's going on. We can leave if you want us to, but please hear us out. You can leave if you don't like what we say. Atsumu's still glaring at them. He wants nothing more than to run to Eren's arms, to be comforted by his stable presence, but he's scared. He's scared of getting pushed away, of being hurt again. Atsumu. Eren took a slight step forward and Atsumu flinched back, which made Eren step back again. Okay, I'm sorry. Just here. Eren held out his hand and Atsumu looked at it curiously, seeing the handkerchief there. His eyebrows furrowed in confusion. You're crying. Atsumu lifted a hand to his face and felt the wetness of his tears. He wiped it away or tried to. Every time he wiped it, it gets replaced. No, I don't want this. I don't want to cry in front of them. But Atsumu can't stop. So he just covered his face, hiding it away from sight. But his shoulders were still shaking and Eren and Akagi could do nothing but watch. Atsumu. Akagi slowly stepped forward. His hands also raised but Atsumu didn't see since he's still covering his eyes. Akagi slowly touched Atsumu's shoulder which made Atsumu stiffen but didn't pull away, so Akagi took that as a sign to continue. He slowly slid his hands from Atsumu's shoulders down until he's engulfed Atsumu in a hug. Atsumu melted and returned Akagi's embrace, crying into the smaller male's shoulders. Eren slowly joined them and they all just stood there hugging each other as they waited for Atsumu to stop crying. "We're here for you, Atsumu," Akagi whispered to Atsumu the same time Eren tightened his hold on the blonde. When Atsumu was done crying, they went to the backyard and sat under the tree. Eren and Akagi were each holding one of Atsumu's hands, their fingers entwined as Atsumu squeezed them from time to time. "So what's happening, Atsumu? Suna said you were avoiding them and we want to know why. We know you won't be avoiding them without a reason, and we want to know what that reason is." Atsumu's throat tightened and he squeezed the hands he were holding again. Then he spoke. Everything, from how their words became harsher and harsher since the third years graduated, to how he got fed up when the others made him realized how fucked up it all was, to his and Sakusa's breakup, to the bet, him blowing up and punching Iwaizumi, how emotionally exhausted he gets whenever he talks to them so he avoids them, and how they all try to act like nothing ever happened and are confused at his cold treatment. Everything. Except for when he almost died. Atsumu's grip on their hands tightened as the story progressed but he didn't notice the two's grip tightening too. How Eren's teeth is clenched in anger. How Akagi is almost in tears. Atsumu just spoke and spoke. Words flowing out of his mouth as if they are the last words he'll ever speak. And I don't know if I should just talk to them because it's affecting the team and I'm the captain. I should be responsible and reliable. I shouldn't let personal problems get in the way of me leading the team. I should just suck it up and bear with it and... What? Atsumu no. Akagi crouched in front of Atsumu and pulled his face up to meet his gaze. You are not going to do any of that. They are the ones at fault. They should be thankful you're still interacting with them. It's okay for you to avoid them because they hurt you and not even apologized. Akagi's right, Atsumu. You might be the captain but you still shouldn't tolerate that kind of treatment for the sake of the team. They are the ones who disrespected you. Your teammates. They don't get to demand you to respect them when they didn't give you any of it. But what about nationals? Your health is more important than nationals. Besides, Atsumu, not winning nationals won't affect your ability as a player. Toxic teammates on the other hand, will affect you emotionally and mentally until that will bleed into your physical health. You're still the best setter. It's not your fault your teammates are a bunch of scrubs. Atsumu laughed wetly which made Eren and Akagi smile softly at him. But it didn't do anything to the anger they are feeling right now. So what are you up to right now, Atsumu? Tell me more about your Skittle Squad and about moving in with Oikawa. Atsumu's eyes brightened as he told them about his new friends. About Ruru, which made Eren and Akagi look at each other in realization. About Kevin, which neither couldn't believe until Atsumu showed them the photo of Kevin peeking from under a too big chef's hat with an apron bundled below him. Even then, the two still can't believe. Atsumu also showed them the picture of them in Hokkaido, the one a stranger took when they started a snowball war. That was when Mama Mia came out and served them some snacks as well as Atsumu's magazine. Mom. He isn't our Atsumu handsome? Akagi whistled in appreciation while Atsumu blushed. Damn Atsumu. Eren squinted his eyes at the photo. Why are you eating lipstick? Kita sipped some tea as he listened to Suna and Jinjima complain about how Atsumu is avoiding them. He won't talk to us. Preferring to talk to Rasuka. To Rasuka. Of all people. Kita-san, it's affecting the team. The first years are all sad because they think they did something to make the captain mad. And did you? What? Did you do something to make Atsumu avoid you? I know Atsumu. He won't just avoid someone he's mad at. In fact, he'll talk to them more. So what did you do? That's the thing. We did nothing. He just suddenly started avoiding us after he assaulted Iwaizumi and Matsukoa. Then he goes to Tokyo for a few days and come back with a new fancy hairdo and suddenly he thinks he's better than us and is avoiding everybody. Jinjima was nodding beside Suna. Kita hummed as he looked at Osamu, waiting for him to speak up but he didn't. He just sat there avoiding Kita's gaze. You see, I know why Atsumu's avoiding you. Suna and Jinjima's eyes widened before Suna caught himself and smiled. You do? Why? Kita put his tea down. Because you deserve it. What? You heard me. Suna and Jinjima watched Kita with wide eyes. Osamu still avoiding his gaze but is visible stiff in his seat. What? Do you think I don't know how you treated him? I did read your last messages to him. Although it was too late for me to say something when I did. So yes, I think Atsumu avoiding you is deserved. You disrespect him to the point that you've crossed the line from teasing to verbal abuse and bullying. And now that he's doing the healthy thing for him and ignoring you, trying to live his life without you trying to bring him down every minute, you throw a tantrum? TSK TSK TSK. Kita shook his head as he picked up his teacup. The three's eyes were bulging out of their heads, hands clenched and throat tightening as tears threatened to drop. Shameless. Kita slurped his tea then spoke again. A piece of advice. Stop bothering Atsumu. He doesn't want you. Doesn't need you. Not anymore. Kita shrugged. But that's life. We all make mistakes and we all need to live through the consequences. Goodbye. Kita smiled at them as he stood up and left, his face finally reflecting the anger he's feeling. He never thought his team would turn out like this. He has a sneaking suspicion as to how it all came to be, but that does nothing to excuse their behavior. He walked towards the Mia household and was led by Mama Mia to the backyard where Atsumu was laughing with Eren and Akagi. Kita stood there for a moment, just watching them with a fond smile before announcing his presence. Atsumu was suspicious for a moment before he caught Kita's gentle smile. Then he was rocketing himself forward and into Kita's arms, crying once more. Iko opened the package that contains the draft for his first non-sport magazine. He blinked at it for a few minutes, confused. I'm pretty sure I never did this pose. Iko racked his brain for when the photo was taken because it surely wasn't during his official photoshoot. Dart. Is this when I sneezed? Sorry to bother you. Oh no, it's fine. I'd love to take care of Kevin. Iko said as took Kevin from Midorima's arms. Atsumu asked him to babysit Kevin during classes because he doesn't want to leave him alone. Oh okay. Thank you Iko-san. I'll come pick him up later. Thank you. Iko and Kevin waved at Midorima then went inside. So Kevin, are you hungry? Oh, didn't your father feed you? He fed you? And you're still hungry? Iko laughed. Okay, come on. I'll teach you how to cook pancakes. Iko meant that as a joke but apparently, Kevin was an excellent cook. He's a fast learner and has a great sense of taste, which is weird because he only likes pancakes. Or maybe it's sense of smell? Do you have a nose Kevin? Kevin bubbled which Iko didn't really understand. Oh well. Iko gave up trying to find the reason why Kevin's so good at cooking since that seems like an impossible task. Okay Kevin, listen to me. Kevin watched Iko intently. Your purpose in life is to protect the world, okay? And to do that, you just have to cook for your parents so they don't start the apocalypse. Repeat after me. My purpose in life is to protect the world from my parents and their world-ending cooking. It took a few moments but then Kevin grew a mouth then screeched for a whole minute, possibly breaking Iko's eardrums. Close enough.